We're learning more about last night's Democratic caucus in Thornton Township, which may result in Tiffany Henyard's name not being placed on the ballot for supervisor.
Nate Rogers has been following this story closely, joining us live now with the latest on what's happening. Nate?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. What a mess. I got to tell you, we've been speaking to attorneys all day long about yesterday's very chaotic caucus, Democratic caucus in Thornton Township. Attorneys representing Senator Napoleon Harris, who led the caucus, tell us that Henyard did not have a full slate, including a certified assessor. We also spoke to Henyard herself by phone today, and her attorney, they claimed that she was specifically targeted by caucus rules.
Napoleon Harris is a coward. He is a coward for not allowing the people to be heard.
Those rules eliminated any chances that Tiffany Henyard had, even if she had nominated anyone, even if she had nominated herself.
And take a look at your screen. Attorney Max Solomon is referencing this document right here, page 5 of caucus rules, saying supervisor candidates cannot already appear on the ballot for another office. Henyard is currently running for re-election as Dalton's mayor. Solomon says they did not receive caucus rules until the day of. Harris's attorney says they could have asked for the rules earlier. Now, yesterday's caucus was slated to start at 7 p.m., but Harris's supporters were pre-registered. They were allowed in earlier. The caucus lasted 7 minutes, with Harris being nominated as Thornton Township supervisor for the Democratic ticket. Fox 32 reached out to a non-partial election attorney and sent her the caucus rules. Here's more from attorney Carolyn Kaufner.
I have reviewed the caucus rules that they employed yesterday, and I know that they weren't followed because one of them requires everybody who's there, who's voting, to sign in and sign an affidavit attesting that they're qualified under the rules set forth by the election code and also by the caucus. I know there were people present there that didn't sign those affidavits who voted anyway, so that shows me there's a flaw. I know there were candidates for other offices who are not members of the Democratic Party who are running in this election as independent candidates for office in Thornton Township. I've heard they were present and participating. So what it sounds like is this was a little bit of a free-for-all.
And of course, you've guessed it, all of this will likely be settled in court, as Henyard says she does plan to pursue legal action. Now, coming up in my report at 5 o'clock, you definitely want to see it. You'll hear from Senator Napoleon Harris's attorney on their reaction.
13 months after our first WGN Investigates report on questionable spending by South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard, it appears she has been forced off the ballot. Now, this involves just one of the 2 elected positions Henyard holds. Now her allies are calling the move illegal and vowing to fight. And let's be clear, the guy who engineered the move installed himself at the top of the ticket. Tiffany Henyard didn't even get the chance to speak before the Democratic Township committeeman dispatched her from the ballot in a simple voice vote. In seconds, the crowd of hundreds sang her out like a ball player who had just struck out.
This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
In an interview before last night's unusual caucus, Henyard cried foul, saying her supporters were stuck outside, while backers of the committeeman, Napoleon Harris, gathered inside. Harris is also a state senator who selected himself to run for township supervisor at the top of the Democratic ticket.
The process was followed, and it came out the way it was supposed to.
It should have been a primary. It always has been in the history of Thornton Township. Always 10,000 residents come and vote for township government.
Why do you think it changed?
Because they can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls. But now when I bring the people out, you don't let them in? Make that make sense.
To me, there are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not, but the voters certainly should.
Bill Cadigan is a former State Board of Elections chairman who says the caucus system is legal in Illinois, as is holding multiple elected positions.
No, it does not look like good government, and it looks like more of the same in Thornton Township.
The two South Suburban government's Henyard runs have been in chaos since soon after WGN Investigates began reporting on her spending and abrasive leadership style. She and her entourage racked up more than $100,000 in travel, meals, and more. Her namesake cancer charity was shut down for failing to report how it spends money. Even after the FBI served subpoenas in April, the spending continued. One sparsely attended event cost taxpayers more than $85,000. Before last night's defeat, Henyard vowed not to be deterred.
The show will go on.
Her team says they're asking the state's attorney and Illinois Attorney General to investigate the legality of last night's raucous caucus. Henyard can run as a write-in candidate for township supervisor, but remember, she's also facing a big challenge to stay on as the mayor of Dalton. Lourdes?
All right, Ben.